work with the international community, with our partners, and with the government of Yemen to push toward this initiative being implemented. We will do all we can to put the necessary pressure on the Houthis to accept and to come to the negotiating table and to lay down arms, because we believe that a stop to the fighting and a focus on a political solution is the only way forward.
Let's discuss this with Yousef Mawry. He's a political analyst based in Detroit, Michigan. Yousef, thanks for your time. I know it's very early in the morning where you are. But in 2018, you wrote an article where you said this conflict would come to the point where the Saudis would have to put forth a deal, but the Houthis would most likely reject it. So what happened with yesterday's proposed ceasefire really not coming as a surprise to you?
Well, Saudi Arabia underestimated how much support Ansar Allah, aka the Houthis, have from a large portion of the Yemenis in the north. You can talk to any Yemeni household, and they have a member, or they know a member in their family that is in the front lines and that have joined the ranks of Ansar Allah to counter what they view as a foreign aggression on Yemeni soil. In my analysis in 2018, the insight was Saudi Arabia is underestimating just how much support Ansar Allah have from the Yemeni people, and they don't realize that people are, rushing to the battlefronts to fight against Saudi Arabia. And they also underestimated that Ansar Allah is, their main goal is to take control of Yemen, and they want to take control of Yemen because they view the previous administrations, the previous regime under Abdurrabbu Mansur Hadi as being allies of Saudi Arabia and being puppet regimes of Western nations. And, the sentiments of the Yemeni people is that they want an independent Yemeni government that caters to the demands of the Yemeni people as opposed to taking its orders from external states. So that was the sentiment. And under that banner, Ansar Allah was able to garnish support from Yemenis who weren't necessarily supporting them in 2010, in 2011. It was literally their call to build an independent Yemeni nation, something which the majority of Yemeni people are in support of.
Mm-hmm. So if the majority of Yemeni people are in support of this, they're also the ones that are most affected by what the UN has described as the world's worst man-made humanitarian disaster. I mean, this has had a terrible effect not only on the economy of that country, but also on its people.
What's interesting enough, it's been a war between both sides of the media when it comes to this. Saudi Arabia is essentially blaming the Houthis for causing this humanitarian crisis under the pretext that this was a Iranian rebel movement that overthrew a legit Yemeni government, and based on their media, they were doing the Yemeni people a favor by ridding the Yemeni people from this quote-unquote rebel movement that overthrew a legit Yemeni government. But on the other hand, I would say the majority of people in the north, they did not believe this pitch, and thus that's why right now, if you look at what's happening in the north of Yemen, protests are taken to the streets every Friday. Hundreds of thousands of people are protesting in almost every province in the north, condemning the Saudi aggression. And I can tell you that the majority of Yemeni people, they view Saudi Arabia as the main perpetrator of the blockade and for causing this chaos and instability. They don't necessarily look at the Houthis as being the responsible party, because they know that when it comes to lifting the blockade and ending the airstrikes, that's a decision that can be made by the UN, and that's a decision that can be made by Saudi officials.
Yousef Mawry, really appreciate your analysis on the situation live to us there from Detroit. Thank you.